Blythe, we're rolling.
Let's do it,
Thank
Tim.
you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Bigger Fish, can you tell me what it is, what you do, and how it got started?
Yeah, so Bigger Fish Unlimited, we are a full-service marketing and public relations agency based here in Bozeman. We do serve clients around the globe. We focus predominantly on, I like to say, anywhere you can eat, drink, or stay. So hospitality concepts, culinary concepts, hotels, travel experiences, and then beer, wine, and spirits.
How did you get into doing this?
It's actually, I'm using my college degree. I have a degree in journalism and communications from Lehigh University, and this is all I've ever done. It's all I've ever known. I've worked, both in-house with clients on the agency side, and then now obviously operating my own agency. I got my first job in PR out of college with the Philadelphia 76ers, which was more of a crisis communications role at the time. It was when Allen Iverson was on the team, and I don't know if there's any basketball followers out there, but
I even know that name. And
you know AI, the original AI. So
I'll tell you a funny thing about the original AI.
Tell me.
Okay, I'll tell you now. So I grew up on a dairy farm. A lot of the cows on dairy farms, and a lot of farms on beef farms, the cattle are artificially inseminated.
Mm-hmm.
That's
AI
is
also
the term. So when I hear that term a lot, that's what I hear. So I'm like, okay, but it's since been overwashed with the current AI term.
Yeah, very true. That's funny. My sister's a veterinarian, and when she was in vet school, she was telling me she had to go to the airport to pick up some specimens, I guess, for some AI.
Yep.
And I'm like, what does it come in? Like a My Little Pony box? Like how do they transfer that?
And this is all in liquid nitrogen because
Mm-hmm.
it's frozen, so it's in canisters. Anyway, Let's not go off on that tangent.
Yeah.
Please continue.
So yeah, I mean, I sort of landed in Bozeman about 15 years ago before it was hip. I moved here from California, which I feel like I have to whisper now, but before it was a trend. And, I came out here to visit for a month and never left, really, is what happened. But yeah, after I spent my time in college in Pennsylvania, I was in Philadelphia for a bit there with the Sixers, and then moved back to California where my family was at the time. And I took a job selling advertising for Wenner Media, they were called at the time. So it was Us Weekly Magazine and Men's Journal. And I didn't love the challenge as much as I like doing the earned media stuff that I'm doing now, because I would go out and sell a client a specific page number in a magazine. And then when that issue came out, I knew that they were going to be there. So that just wasn't challenging enough for me. And on the earned media side, and I'm dating myself, I used to run to the newsstand and pick up a magazine and flip through. The editor told me it was going to be in the January issue. Let me, make sure it's there. And then when you see your client in writing, it's just sort of like this proud moment.
So when you started with the 76ers, what did your day-to-day look like? What exactly are you doing?
So in office during the day, and then during season, we do pregame press conferences, attend the game, help with statistics, set up the postgame press conference. And then because I was the newer, younger person on the PR team, I was tasked with going out with the team. If they wanted to go out after a home game win, I would go with them and basically be a babysitter.
That must have been kind of cool in some senses.
It was. I started off as, I just kind of sit in the corner with my book. This was before you could play on your phone. And then it kind of got to the point where if you can't beat them, join them. So there were some fun times, and I have some good stories from that chapter of my life for sure. One day, the guy who wears the mascot was sick. And again, also because I was the new person on the team, I had to wear the mascot costume. It was terrible. Probably one of the worst days.
Do you know what games you were the mascot in? If anyone went through the archives of 76ers.
I'm not allowed to say that. It's supposed to be an anonymous position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it is fun. You can't talk, obviously, but you're kind of interacting with the crowd and messing around with the kids and stuff. So it was a fun experience. But man, that thing stunk so bad.
So if someone broadly just asked, how would you describe the position of being... Is an agent, a PR agent?
Publicist, yeah.
Okay.
So I work to get my clients in the news. I also work to get my clients out of the news. We do focus a little bit on crisis communications and that type of thing. So, if we have a client who's, in a bad spot and need a little coaching and help getting out of the news, we do that too.
Which is more fun?
Honest.
Getting them out of the news.
I might be a little sick in the head, but I really like the crisis comms side of things.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. It's all about storytelling and crafting the narrative. And I always say, to my clients, transparency invites trust. So let's just be honest about what happened, address it, and fix it moving forward.
Okay, so you started with the 76ers. Who do you work with locally here in Bozeman now?
Locally, I'm working with the Kimpton Armory Hotel and all of their dining outlets. I also represent Off the Beaten Path. They're a dedicated adventure travel company, and they provide experiences all over the world. They do small group adventures and then customized travel experiences as well. I'm also working with Kiln, their new co-working space in Bozeman, located in the Old Town and Country on 19th and Main. And if you haven't been in to see it, please come check it out. I have an office there, and it's just a great community of like-minded business individuals.
Cool. Very cool.
I'm representing Lazy K Bar Whiskey. It's in partnership with actor Cole Hauser, who plays Rip on Yellowstone, Britt West, who's a spirits industry veteran and Livingston resident, and then David Lucian, who owns the Lazy K Bar Ranch, the brand's namesake. So
Was there some sort of issue with their branding with Cole Hauser in the Yellowstone show? I swear I heard something
that
like
was
that.
with around his coffee brand.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't us.
Because they were essentially kind of using the Yellowstone show to promote their brand, something.
I don't
to that
understand
extent.
the legalities. I can't really speak to that. But yeah, that was an issue with Cole and Taylor, but since
Okay.
been resolved. Locally, I'm also representing Blanton Contracting. They're just down the road here. They're doing a lot of work over in Jackrabbit Crossing. They focus on residential and commercial construction.
Okay, and I know some of those guys. When I was part-time, I was doing some carpentry and siding work, and we did some stuff on some of their jobs. I've met some of the there's Jake,
Ted, Tyler.
So Jake and Ted, and then
Vince is the owner.
Vince, yep. Met all of them. They're all cool. So
they've been amazing to work with. They're super supportive. They get it. I task them to do a lot of video marketing and things like that. I have a great videographer here in town that I work with, Brandon Boss, and they're like, we didn't realize we had to be actors. We're contractors, but they've been really good sports about it, and secretly, I think they kind of like it.
Hi, folks. Quick note from me. If you don't already know, the goal of Mountain Mule Media is to build real connection between Montana's businesses and the people they serve. If this episode or any other has given you something worth thinking about, smiling at, or passing along, I've got a small ask. Share it with a friend, text it to someone, post it in your story. That one simple action helps these businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this show keep going. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. Now back to the show. What is interesting, you have to tell people about what you do, and you can't just keep it in a vacuum and keep it hidden from anyone, or, depending on the demand of the industry, people might just find you, but if it's competitive and there's a lot of people want to know who you are and what you do.
Well, yeah, and that industry specifically in this valley has become so competitive, which I see it as a good thing. Competition is healthy, but they just have a really unique way of doing things. They're really open and honest with their communication. They are very straightforward with their clients from beginning to end. I have a strong passion for the construction industry. My dad's a commercial real estate developer. My mom was an interior designer, so I kind of just grew up in that world. Growing up, they would buy the crummiest house on the block. They'd fix it up, and before the last coat of paint was even dry, they'd be like, here's your box, pack your room. So I've become an expert packer and mover, even though it's one of the things I hate the most doing in life. It's moving.
Yeah, it's not. I was just talking with someone about that. It's not the most fun thing.
It should be like death, taxes, and moving. Is there anything worse?
That was that's where it was, as some of the most stressful things. So you're from Illinois.
I'm from Chicago, yes.
Chicago,
Yes.
Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
You lived in California. How has the contrast been as far as doing the work here locally and then doing it all over the country? Is business done a lot different here? Is it similar in some ways?
I was working remote and working from home before it was cool. So I started my own agency in 2007 in San Francisco. At that point, I was focusing predominantly on winery clients. So traveling up and down the coast in California, not a bad gig, right? And working from home. And so I've always had that dedication and that discipline that it takes to have a home office. People think, oh, I just sit around in my jammies and throw a load of laundry in between here and there. And yeah, there are days when I do house chores between calls and things, but it really takes some serious focus and dedication. And I have a dedicated office space in my home where I can truly go to work and shut the door and put everything else aside. So I was in California for about 9 years. came out here, started visiting the valley in about 2008. I love to fly fish. It's a little bit of a play on the name, the business name, Bigger Fish, too.
Okay,
But we
good. Because
can get into
I
that.
would ask
Yeah,
you
we
that.
can
So
definitely get into that. And then I came out. I wanted to stay out here just for a month, and that turned into 3 years accidentally. And then I woke up one day and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I was living in Big Sky. And 15 years ago, Big Sky was not what it is today, right? The opportunities just weren't there. And in the valley in general, the opportunities weren't there. And I felt like living in Big Sky, I was amongst, like ski bum, ski and party, which is fine. That's great for some people. And then an older set of retired individuals. So that at the time, there wasn't that professional community. So I left. And as I'm driving out with my U-Haul, I had that feeling of this is a mistake. But I had committed to a job in Chicago, and I made it there 11 months and came running back to Montana.
nice.
I forgot how flat it is there, how hot, how cold, how humid. And when it's cold and snowy here, there's plenty of outdoor activities to do. But when you're stuck downtown Chicago and the wind is howling and you're just like wincing, it's just there's more to life than that.
You know where I was yesterday? The one and only.
Oh, nice.
They had the chamber put on an event up there. It's kind of they do it twice annually. It's a little bit of an economic update on everything going on in the economy, Big Sky and Bozeman.
Mm-hmm.
And the GM, he's the manager, the general manager. He was saying it's been an interesting contrast to see like the demographic of people that are coming to the one and only mixing with all the local ski bums.
Mm-hmm.
And because they now have the tram, the access for everything to kind of connect up there,
Mm-hmm.
that everyone can all
walks of life are
pollinate.
converging. Yeah.
And that the one and only is fully open to the public. It's not a membership. Anyone can make a reservation for dinner there. They, as he said, an open door policy. I thought it was pretty cool.
That's
because
awesome.
It's easy to look at that and be like, what is this? This is just money coming from other countries. But I did appreciate that it feels more accessible to everyone. It's not a walled, gated community.
That's good to hear. And I know Courtney and Marissa well. Courtney and I go way back to her days at the Armory. We're working together on an event in March with my client, Lazy K Bar. We're going to be up there with Cole doing a special dinner. So I'm looking forward to being up there and experiencing the property. But, Montana is on the map. Bozeman's on the map. And I think a lot of people still don't get it. I have some clients that are based in Southern California. And about a year ago, they were all up in arms about the minimum wage increasing to, I think they said $20 an hour. And I said, you guys, in Bozeman, the starting rate at Taco Bell is $22 an hour. And they're like, where is this? Montana? I'm like, yeah, look it up. I have an older sister who lives in Indianapolis. She's never even been out here to visit me. I just don't think she can wrap her head around it. And I think some people think, we take a donkey to work and live in a cabin in the woods and churn our own butter, but that's not the case.
Yeah. Come on. Shame on anyone who thinks that. Is the women you mentioned, are they with the sales team for the Armory?
Yep.
Cool.
They were with the Armory. Courtney was with the Armory. Now she's with the One and Only.
Okay.
Yes.
And I may have, I probably met one or both of them. I met some folks up there when I was up there yesterday.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting up there and seeing the property and taking some turns.
It's an impressive spot.
Good.
Okay, so Bigger Fish.
Yes.
You said
the name.
Yeah.
Well, the goal is in the name, to make you the bigger fish in your industry. There is a little bit of a play there because I am an angler. I moved here
so that's
specifically
would you say that's the angle you're working?
Funny.
As
see what you did there. And on my business cards, the title is captain, not just owner. I just try to have a little bit of fun with it. But there, there's a lot of different angles you can take with that too. It's like we have big fish to fry. So.
Do you have a team around you that helps you do this?
I sure do. Yep.
Cool.
I have a gal on my team who helps with social media content creation and posting. And then Brendan, whom I mentioned earlier, he has his own videography business here in Bozeman, and I contract with him.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how long have you been fishing?
I started fly fishing when I was probably 12 or 13 years old on the beach in Mexico with my dad.
Okay.
So I have two sisters. I'm in the middle, always kind of vying for that parental attention as the middle child. And my dad's been fishing forever, predominantly saltwater fishing. And whenever we'd go down to Mexico early in the morning, he would say, "I'm gonna go fishing. Does anyone wanna come?" "No, Dad, we don't wanna do that. We don't wanna do that." And I kinda picked up on the fact, like, "Well, you're going to the beach, right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to the beach." I'm like, I'll go with you. I like the beach." So I'd start off just kinda walking up and down the beach while he's fishing, and I'm watching him. One day I said, "Dad, that looks kinda cool. Can I try that?" He said, "All right, kid, come on out here." So we're saltwater flat fishing for bonefish. It's one of the most difficult things to do in fly fishing. He gives me a little tutorial and he's like, "There's no way you're gonna catch a fish, but this is what you do." Well, I caught a bonefish.
Nice.
He was like, "Show off." So it kind of just became our thing to do, father-daughter trips around the country to fish. That was kind of a cool thing. We, check rivers off, different states off. And then we found Montana. And it's now home. So
Do you guys still fish together often?
we still do. And my younger sister has picked up on it too. And we do an annual Father's Day fishing trip. My dad and my sister both live in Arizona, so they come up and we fish Land of the Giants every Father's Day weekend. It's become a tradition now for, I think, 10 years.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you know Jim Klug with Yellow Dog?
Yes.
And because they do fly fishing.
Yeah, and he was just on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually, I appreciate him. He did a episode very early on when I was, just venturing into this, and it's really cool to hear what he's built and that they go all over the world.
Well, and the thing I like about fly fishing, and when I tell people that I fly fish, they're typically surprised because I'm not a very patient person. You'll pick up on that. But it doesn't matter if you don't catch a fish. Like, look around, look where you are. You're in some of the most beautiful spots in the world. So I love it.
That's what Jim had mentioned with their business. It's usually it's fun to be on their side of the industry because a lot of the people that might be booking these trips might come from, fast-paced cities, but they're about to set up a trip to do something they love and they can chill. So they get to they kind of get to see the better side of the people.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
He just mentioned that it's always cool to be on that side of people and fishing.
Yeah, when I first started coming out here, I was fishing with a guide, and we were on the Gallatin, and he was kind of telling me where to go. And he said, walk 100 yards down the bank and walk in the river towards that pine tree. Obviously, I know what a pine tree is, but I looked at him all confused just to see what he said. He's like, "You know what a pine tree is, right?" I'm like, "I'm just messing with you. I'm from a city, but yes, I know what a pine tree is." So.
That's so cool. That makes complete sense with the name. Because I just wouldn't have thought, not to totally judge Blythe off. I'm like, I wouldn't think she's a huge fly fisher woman. Is that how you say it? Fisher woman?
Sure.
Fly fisher
angler,
woman?
avid angler.
She's an avid angler.
Yes.
She's always working an angle.
I love that, Tim.
Come on, we got this. It's good. It's going to stick.
Keep going with that.
So I went fly fishing for the first time this summer.
Really?
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
5 years.
Okay.
Took
you that long to try, huh?
Yeah, my next door neighbor, John, took me. Shout out to John Cochran. And I fished as a kid growing up. We grew up on a farm. It's always been fun. It's always been of interest to me, but there's many things that are. So I'm very selective with my time. And for me, it's just to go out and do that when there's 10 things I want to go out and do right now.
Right.
And I just I intentionally haven't done it because I'm like, it'll be one more thing. And there's 10 other things I want to do before I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get out, go hunting. And I've really only gone hunting one season out here.
It's crazy. I didn't move here to work 16-hour days, but sometimes that's the case. But when it's a really nice summer day and I can take 4 hours off in an afternoon to go fish or take a hike with my dog, I do that. So what'd you think? You like it?
It was a lot of fun.
Are you hooked?
Now we're rolling. I'm not hooked, but I see the enticement, and I'm like, that was because I was thinking about it the whole next day. When you're snapping back, when you feel them, and just the tension. And John did great and was very patient with me. But once I caught 4 that day, nothing worth writing home about. But once I started to get the hang of it, it's fun, and it's a fun challenge. It's a give and take. And we were in a drift boat, and I'm like, yeah, I could. Why wouldn't you do this every day you had a chance?
Yeah, and so those guys go out there and get paid to do that. They're doing it right.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. I mean, trying to stay focused on the things that you do like to do. I mean, my garage looks like Dick's Sporting Goods, right? It's like, how many hobbies could one person actually have? But fly fishing is, it's not a cheap hobby. So
yeah, and if you're into winter sports, and I play some summer sports. I grew up playing baseball. I still play baseball. Nice. And try to run the business. So it's, what do you do when you're not fishing? The real fishing.
my desk. No, I have a very active dog that I spend a lot of time trying to get tired. So we hike and walk a lot. I love to lift weights. That's sort of my outlet, my stress release tool, I guess. Um, I have a very active social life. That's part of my job too. There's a lot of social involvement there, and so just trying to maintain that balance of keeping clients happy and maintaining personal relationships.
What's your dog's name?
Sophie,
Sophie.
yeah,
How old is she?
she's an 11-year-old insane Weimaraner.
Okay, I don't know what kind of dog that is.
They're gray with blue eyes and big ears. That there's the famous photographer William Wegman. He dresses the dogs up in like funny costumes and stuff. They have so much personality.
Okay. You'll have to show me a picture.
She's a clown. She's a total clown. There's a guy in town, Cooper, with it's called Rough Riders Mobile Dog Gym. So he'll come to my house once a week, and he has like this little doggy treadmill in the van. And
I remember I've seen
you've
this
seen
van
it,
in
yeah.
traffic. Yeah.
It's funny, yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's the concept with that?
it's called a slat mill, and it's basically a doggy treadmill. And he puts them on a harness so they're safe. And I mean, she gets on that thing and she goes. She's gotten up to, I think, 15 miles an hour. So
So they enjoy it? Do they?
they she does. I know that she does for sure. And she's very food motivated. So he kind of has like a little treat in front of her and she just goes. But
That's funny.
he does some really cool work with Heart of the Valley. He volunteers his time there, works with, dogs that are there at the shelter just to get them some extra exercise and love and attention. So shout out to Cooper.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You said you work out. What's your workout of choice?
I walk at least 5 miles a day with a weighted vest,
How heavy?
15 pounds,
Nice.
and heavy weightlifting.
Okay. What's your favorite workout? Do you like leg day?
Not as much as arm day. I just, people have this misconception, women especially around weightlifting, like, oh, I don't want to get bulky, but it's all about, calories in, calories out. And, if you're training to be a bodybuilder, of course, you're going to be eating 3 times your weight in protein a day, and then you're going to bulk up. But for me, it's just that the release. And I've never been good at yoga or meditating. I just lay there with my thoughts, my head spinning of all the other things I need to be doing. So when I'm lifting heavy weights, I feel like I'm actually working really hardly, and like I have to stay focused on that.
So it just gets you in your zone where you're
correct
and out of your head.
Yep. And I play super loud, angry music. Just get after it.
Yeah.
So I work out at the YMCA.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right by the Commons, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. How long have you been working out?
I started this kind of new health journey about 4 years ago. I was just not on a healthy track. I was not practicing good work-life balance. It was not using healthy outlets for stress release. And I quit drinking and stopped eating junk food and just really got into this weight loss and, maintaining heavy exercise in my life. It's a really healthy outlet.
Did something spur that or kick you to do that? Or was it just accumulation of things adding up?
It was accumulation of things adding up. I was self-medicating, to be totally honest. And I'm not a doctor, obviously. Yeah. And it just wasn't working for me anymore.
And I appreciate you saying that, because I think most of us do that as humans. As we, unknown. And as I primarily only drink decaf coffee, because I was...
What?
I would drink, 6 or 7 cups of caffeinated coffee.
Yeah.
And then it gets to a point where I'm not sleeping very well at night because I'm way over caffeinated.
Yeah.
I'll still not drink 4 or 5 cups of decaf, but that's I've regulated it, but it is about that awareness, because it's, you can do it with food. You could do it with you can do it with caffeine. Obviously,
sugar is highly addictive.
Sugar, alcohol. And so how long have you not drank?
Almost 4 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No, I feel so much better. I took some health tests and it told me my metabolic age is 32, which is not my actual age. So that's kind of cool to see. Yeah.
I was just had a gentleman on earlier, Matt Ryan, does real estate. I think he said he's been sober since he's 22.
Cool.
He's in his 40s. And I very rarely drink. And when I do drink, if I have a beer or two, I feel it for like 2 or 3 days. Emotionally, I feel it. I'm very low.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's the way my body regulates it. I don't know. So and we were saying too, some people are good at it and they can do it fine and they function very well. And it's just way to release for them. And if it works right, then I think more power to you. For
You know,
me,
yeah, and I think you just wake up more clear-headed. You don't have that just like groggy feeling. You can make more out of your day. Like how many weekends of your life's like, oh man, I partied too hard last night. Now this whole weekend is a waste.
yeah,
So yeah, it's worked for me. Nothing's gotten worse since I stopped drinking, so I think I'm gonna keep it going.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you go all week, and then you like drink, and then you're down here, and then you build yourself back up to feel good again, and then it's just this
Yeah,
seesaw
I mean,
roller
it is a
coaster.
depressant, even though, that first, drink or two kind of gives you that high feeling and happy feeling. It's actually doing the opposite. So,
Yeah. So
and,
back,
and it's kind of on trend right now too. A
it's
lot of
yeah, a
people are.
lot of people. I
Hmm.
think the alcohol consumption's gone way down,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
Hmm.
I heard something really interesting that a lot of the people that are lobbying for marijuana
Hmm.
to not be legal at all, or they don't want it to be, legalized in all these different states, are people from who are either investors or owners of
Alcohol.
alcohol.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So because that if people have that option, they're going to drink less.
Hmm.
And for a lot of people, it's really a good, safe alternative
Hmm.
with a lot lower of consequences.
Yeah.
Some people,
It's not for everyone.
no. So yeah. Was there anything, I mean, like, what have you, prior to working with these businesses here, is there anything that sticks out of like really cool companies you've worked with, or just really fun experiences you've had?
Gosh, I'm so blessed. I've worked with such a cool range of clients. I mean, working in restaurants and, wine and spirits, we just talked about not drinking, but, they have been good clients of mine in the past. Um, it's a sexy industry. It is, but it's hard work. I have a lot of friends who think, oh, you're just whining and dining and going out to 5-course meals every night. It's like when I do a media dinner, I usually come home and order a pizza because I didn't have a chance to eat. I'm hosting. I'm making sure everyone's having a good time. I'm making sure they're interviewing the chef or the winemaker or the, whoever it is. So it's not all it doesn't, it's not as glamorous as it might seem.
What's the most fun or positive experience you've had in this business?
Oh my gosh. Like I said, that challenge of seeing my clients in the news, getting, either a cover story on a magazine or front page of the newspaper, that is such a high hit for me. I love that. So and just great to see clients' reactions too. And I'm really blessed right now. I have such a good group of clients. They're all really grateful. I have had clients in the past who are like, okay, great, but I'm like, that was the cover of the front page of the New York Times. Like, where do you go from there? So it's just a good mix of clients. Something that sets my agency apart is we don't take on any competing brands or clients. I always say, if I did that, it would be like trying to pick my favorite child when I'm talking to a reporter and they say, what's the best hotel in Bozeman? Well, I can tell you which one it is.
Yeah,
So that's
that
something
makes
that sets
sense.
us apart. And a lot of big agencies don't operate like that.
I realize there's probably like you can't share too many details with just being the nature of your work, but is there anything you can speak to, like the craziest thing that's happened, or like the biggest fire you've had to put out?
I was working with a chocolate company in California, and they had a potential salmonella outbreak. They had these peanut butter chocolates, and it came to our attention that there were 2 factories where they were made. One of them had a salmonella outbreak in the peanut butter, but it wasn't easily identified which products of the client, and I told them to pull everything. I said, it's not worth it. So it was really hard for me to encourage them to do that because they were going to take a huge loss. But I said, what's the other side of the coin? If someone gets really sick or dies, that's
Yeah,
going to be a little extra expensive. So that was a hard decision to make. I would say my time with the team, with the Sixers, I think there was a lot of excitement around that. It was a time, this was 2002. They were good. There was a lot of excitement in Philadelphia. Philadelphia gets a bad rap, but I think it's a great city. They have a lot going on. Good food
I'm
scene.
right here to give it a bad rep because I'm a
Oh
New
yeah.
York sports fan.
Sorry, know your audience.
Philadelphia,
Forget it.
just the meanest people in the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Not really, but they do have a bad rep of having some very, let's just say, I'll be very generous, say some very passionate sports fans.
They have a jail at the vet. Is that what it's called? The vet?
I don't know.
Where the Eagles play? I'm pretty sure there's
That
a
makes
jail
sense.
at the Eagles Stadium. I think it's the only football stadium in the country where there's an actual jail. So
Well,
that's facts.
a friend of mine, Evan, was saying if it snows, then all the fans have ammunition because they can make snowballs.
Snowballs?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's funny.
it's funny. Yeah,
Well, growing up in Chicago, we went to Chicago Bears games, and my parents would just bundle us up like little snowmen and just feed us hot chocolate. We're on a sugar high, just dancing and having the best time. Like
Sounds like
to me,
fun.
that's what football should be, is like December in a snowstorm. So
So if you take your experience with all this, all these places you've worked, has it taught anything that sticks out about people and just about like, is there anything that sticks out? Do you see patterns in people? Do you see anything that?
yeah, I think spending time on the East Coast hardened me a little bit because it is such a fast-paced environment, very cutthroat. Chicago's a little bit the same way, but Chicago is a city. There's a lot of people that come from the Midwest, right? And so you grew up on a farm, you get it. It's like a lot of people who have those Midwest values and they work hard and play hard. And I really appreciate that. Living in San Francisco was completely different. People are very smart there, but they also really love the outdoors. They love to do their biking and hiking and surfing or whatever it might be. And there's definitely a more relaxed work attitude in California. But the nature of my business is sort of like everything's always an emergency because reporters are always on a deadline. So it doesn't matter if I'm working in, Philadelphia, Chicago, San Francisco, or Bozeman. I give every project and every client the same level of, sense of urgency and attention. Here it's laid back more for sure. And like I said, I didn't move here to work crazy long days, but I can look out the window and see a mountain range. I'm not looking at another skyscraper. So,
And you're not too far from some great access to fishing.
yeah, 10 minutes out of town, you can be in some of the most beautiful parts of the country.
Yeah. So basically, you're a firefighter.
Honestly, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not always like that. I really enjoy the storytelling side of my business. I love a good story and just working with clients to help create that narrative and, some story points that set them apart. I like to hear about the person behind the business, just like what you're doing here, right?
Mm-hmm. What's the hardest part about doing it? Just being in this industry?
Every client thinks they're your only client. And so I try to balance that too. And I do try to give every client the same level of attention. There's nothing I hate more than when people say, oh, this person's a VIP or this client's a VIP. Every client and every person in my world is a very important person. They're in my world. So I try to treat everybody with, in my personal life and professional, I try to treat everybody with the same level of respect and attention. So.
Yeah. We aim to do that same thing with the transportation side, and there's very, vastly varying levels of economic status depending on some of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want one to be treated any different than the other. But to what you said, some of them really do think they're the VIP.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
And, but I don't ever want them to think that, because of who they are, where they're from or anything, that they're treated any different. And that's just something that I, as the leader of my company, do my best to make sure my guys understand. And that's the way we're treating everyone.
That's cool.
But it is very tough to what you're saying when the client's pretty sure that they're your only client.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is on the other side of that with reporters, right? If it's maybe a small town blog versus a reporter at the Chicago Tribune or the Miami Herald or New York Times, I treat them all with the same level of, response time, providing the information, because you just never know where they're going to end up. It's, a very tricky industry like that. It's kind of like being a news reporter. You start at those small town news stations and then you end up in New York City or Philadelphia or wherever it might be. So you have to give them all that same level of detail and attention. And I pride myself on that. And, it is an industry of relationships. And I've been doing this for, I don't even want to say this out loud, over 2 decades. And
Congratulations.
Thanks. I pride myself on maintaining those relationships, not just developing them, but maintaining them. And I'm to the point now in my career where reporters are calling me for information. When you start off as a publicist, it's like you're constantly pitching. You're trying to convince them to write about your client. And so I feel like that moment when my phone started ringing from reporters, I was like, okay, I've made it.
How, with social media now, has that drastically changed? Because, you said a small town reporter versus, maybe a mainstream, like global reporter, but, something can just pop off for whatever reason on a very small scale and become national news.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, social media has completely changed the landscape of news, of reporting. Everybody thinks they're a videographer, a reporter, stuff's on camera. Thank God they didn't have video cams when I was in college. That's all I'll say. But it's hard to figure out what's real and what's not, especially now with AI, going back to that. And then doing these social media marketing videos and things like that for clients. Like most of them get it and they have responded to it, but sometimes it takes a little bit of education. But being a social media manager is a full-time job. If you're actively posting for the client and you're really conscientiously coming up with good posts and things like that. A good post could take up to an hour by the time you edit it and do the music and do the writing and the hashtags. And thank God for Madison on my team, because I am too old for all that and she takes care of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of the intent and hope with this is that this can cut through a lot of the kind of AI generated stuff and just have some hear some real conversations with what you're doing and what people are actually doing, and that the hope is that people feel more connected to the business, because I had some really cool experiences just in the past week. My whole family was in town and we went to 3 different restaurants, and the owners or the chefs or the food and beverage people were on the podcast.
Cool.
And then to go sit down at their restaurant and they say hello, and to know their backstory of why they started doing this, and then have dinner with them. And it was just very cool versus, no disrespect to any chain or anything, but it's this is Texas Roadhouse. Like it's a corporate franchise, and which is fine. Like there's a place for all that stuff, but it's for this size town, and to have that local feels very fun.
Do you feel like the food tasted better because you knew their story?
I think so. How you might look past half of the stuff. You're like, I don't know how that food tastes, but I feel really good right now. So
good. I love that.
Hopefully.
And food is sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Food is such a connector, right? I mean, everybody has to eat. Most people like to eat. So it's cool to hear the story. And I've worked with chefs, my whole career, and they have some really good stories.
Yeah, I guess if we think about our family or friends, and we might have a little bit of grace if something isn't prepared as well, because we love them as a person. So it's kind of that thing. It feels more like a family atmosphere than if they haven't knocked it out of the park, 5 out of 5 stars with the meal, then we're never going back.
Yeah.
So,
and Bozeman's come a long way with their food scene too. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's definitely not just there's some just tiny towns in the middle of Montana and the whole country that are just mom and pop. Maybe there's a diner, but now we have a very well seasoned, diverse arrangement of foods, and that's coming from someone who grew up in a town of 1,500 that had a mom and pop diner, and that was it. So,
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, just with the work that I'm doing with the culinary team at the Armory, they are really passionate about sourcing truly local ingredients, local proteins, and it's cool to see them do that and to get creative based on what's available in the season.
Yeah, and I heard Corey speak at Montana Festival last year, and it's really cool to hear his deeper why and connection to what they're doing with their food program and that hotel, and that I love that kind of stuff. It's just so cool to see the connection.
Yeah, it's a great property.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a little bit in beta, but
I'm a guinea pig.
Yeah. So I did it with the last guest or the last 2 guests, but I had them leave a question for the next guest.
Oh, cool. Oh, gosh. Okay. So remind me who the question's coming from?
So it's Matt Ryan. He's a guy that does real estate in town here.
Okay.
Really cool guy. I've just gotten to know him better. And there's another podcast that does something similar to this. It's a little bit of a spinoff, but his question is, how has your purpose changed since you started your journey? What is it compared to what you thought it would be? And it's actually very interesting, because you had essentially said you went to school for what you're doing, which is so untraditional.
I know, right? Well, it's funny. I started in the business college at Lehigh University, and I got a D in economics my freshman year. I'm like, okay, this is not for me. And I remember calling my dad and saying, I think I'm going to transfer to the Arts and Sciences College and get a degree in journalism. He's like, so you're going to be poor. I'm like, thanks, Dad.
Nice.
No, but I feel like, I've turned that around and I am using it, and I do love it. I love writing. Okay, so ask it again.
Yep.
Why is my journey?
How has your purpose changed since you started your journey? what is it compared to what you thought it would be?
So I'll answer that in terms of my journey of owning a business. I really appreciate the fact that I can pick and choose my own clients. I can also fire clients. I really try to work with people who get it, who are respectful, who respect my time because I'm going to do that with them as well. And I really value an open line of communication. And if something's not working, I want to hear that from them. Um, Growing up in Chicago, if you ever told me, "Hey, you're gonna live in Montana when you grow up," like, I would have said, "What?" And I think even when I first moved here, my friends in San Francisco thought I had actually lost it. But now they get it and they come out to visit and they see it. But yeah, I never ever thought that Montana would be my home. And it really is. Like I said, I tried to leave once and I came running back. And there's something about that feeling when you land at BZN and you walk out those doors, you're in your car and you're home in like 15 minutes. It's just so refreshing.
Yeah.
So
So that, I
did
mean,
I
I
answer
guess,
the question?
so I guess how, like, what is it compared to what you thought it would be?
I
And,
thought I would always like be a big city girl and live in a penthouse in Chicago or New York or San Francisco and, take the train to work. And that's just not where I'm at. And I'm okay with that.
and now you're an angler in Montana.
Here I am.
That's very, very cool contrast.
Yeah.
So if people want
Mm.
to know more about Bigger Fish, what you're doing, where can they find you?
They can find us online at biggerfishpr.com. Very easy.
You're,
Emails and phone numbers are on there as well.
and you're on social.
I am personally, the business is not. That's something that is a goal for 2026. You spend so much time getting your clients up to speed with their websites, their marketing, their social media, and then you're always the last person to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but if you've got enough clients and you're doing well without it, then more power to you.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest compliment is a referral. So
Very cool. Well, Blythe, Bigger Fish. Fun to hear about what you're doing.
thanks, Tim.
I love the name.
Thank
I
you.
love the story behind the name. And hopefully some more people will hear this and find you if they need you, and you can help put some fires out or build some fires.
That sounds cool. I love that. Yeah, it's interesting to be on this side. A little taste of my own medicine. I'm always encouraging clients to do things like this. It's
Yeah,
not
cool.
often that I get to share my story, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did. And I think that's the best thing we can all do as people and business owners is lead by example. So
Rising tide, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.